Barkin on MPW Digital. I'm Landon. I'm joined by Austin for the Wednesday edition of the show. Getting it a day early, Austin, as Mississippi State fell to Alabama in Tuscaloosa last night, 111-73, a 38-point loss to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. We'll discuss that game because I think there's some bigger picture things from this game. But then we're also going to give a preview to Saturday's game for LSU and Mississippi State, and in what is in some sense, must need win, not to get into the tournament, but just to have some sort of sense of confidence, because confidence is shot at this moment, Austin.
Yeah, we got to keep it one game at a time. But that game, I mean, I know we're going to touch up on it, but that game was really, really ugly. But I'm glad to be here. Yesterday was a bad day to be a Mississippi State fan. Obviously, we lost against Troy in baseball. That was just a game that was close the entire game, and that really hurt. And then after that, everybody thought we're going to win now that means we might win the Alabama game, and then I can't name a worse way to lose a game than just get absolutely embarrassed in Coleman Coliseum. And obviously you were at that game, but yeah, it was a really, really bad day, and we need some good news just sometime. I don't know. And then Thursday night we have to play Texas. We have to go play Vic Schaefer for the women's basketball team. That could get really ugly too. So it's been a wild ride this week.
You're exactly right. Yeah, there's a lot of things to unpack throughout this week, and so we will get into this game with Alabama and Mississippi State, this ugly game. But before we do that, we want to let you know that My Dogs Are Barking is brought to you in part by ARPA's Coffee Bar there in Starkville. ARPA's is located in the heart of the Cotton District. My camera does not know what to do right now. ARPA's is located in the heart of the Cotton District there in Starkville. It's honestly just a great place to catch up with someone over coffee. It's a very lively gathering place. Man, Saturday I was up there with my wife Jordan, and it was just crawling with folks. And just a lot of things going on, but your experience is going to be awesome whenever you go to ARPA's. Make sure you mention that you're a listener of the My Dogs Are Barking podcast. You want to get that MyDawgsPod discount. You get 15% off your order. So if you've never tried ARPA's, see if you tried ARPA's before, you know what I'm talking about. So it's such a wonderful place. If you never tried it, what do you have to lose? We're going to save you. We're not going to have you lose anything. We're going to just save you some cash. 15% off of your order whenever you go to ARPA's. And Lord have mercy, every single Alabama made 22 3-pointers last night. They were money from three, especially Chris Youngblood, who made 7 shots the entire game. All 7 of them were 3-pointers. He was money in that game, man. That man could get rich. But hey, what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number, more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843, and together you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Austin, you mentioned it. I was at that game yesterday covering it, and it was nice to have a game to cover that I didn't have to drive from Tuscaloosa to another town to Starkville to go cover it. I was 10 minutes from my house. So, but unfortunately, the things that I saw, I wish I had not. Mississippi State suffers one of the worst losses they've had in a long time, and we maybe did not think State was going to play great in Tuscaloosa. You and I discussed it on the earlier part of this week. Just not a great matchup for Mississippi State, but we did not see this type of performance coming from State, specifically defensively, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming. The first time we played them in Starkville was a very close game. It was kind of a heartbreaker game at the end of the game. Everybody was really disappointed. And in this game, everybody was disappointed for the exact opposite reason. We got absolutely demolished, absolutely embarrassed. You and I both, I think you said, I think we're going to lose by 10. I think I said, 10, maybe 15, something like that. It was just, and it was the exact opposite. We were both dead wrong, because this was an ugly game. A really ugly game, just pretty much from start to finish. Just in that first half, Josh Hubbard gets in foul trouble. He gets 2 fouls real quick. He's got to come out. And so offensively, I texted you and I was just like, man, we look I don't know if I was texting during the game, but I was just like, we look so bad defensively. I mean, offensively, we couldn't do anything. I mean, absolutely anything. And the offense for Alabama is just so darn good. I think it's the most points scored. I sent it to you by Cole Kublik. The most points scored by a SEC ranked team or something like that ever. And it was absolutely embarrassment. It was rough. Defensively, we just couldn't do anything. We couldn't guard a parked car out there. It was ugly. And offensively, I mean, we can't go shot for Alabama, And I think I want to say that's all what it came down to, but it's not. I mean, defensively, we couldn't do anything. Everybody was looking like a liability. Everybody was scoring. Chris Youngblood was looking like dang prime Klay Thompson. It was rough. It was really really rough. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had to turn it off. Mississippi State football, I watch every single down. I don't care if we're losing by 50 points. This game, I had to turn. It was just too much of an embarrassment for me, and it was just after the baseball game, I was feeling really bad about it, and this made me feel not as good. And so going into this LSU game, we really need a win.
Well, and you mentioned, I mean, the defensive effort was rough for Mississippi State. Offensively, it was odd. They looked so confused on the offensive side of the ball. Several possessions, it was like Michael Nwoko got the ball at the top of the key and like wouldn't pass the ball out, but it wasn't necessarily his fault because guys weren't really getting open, and everyone just looked completely stagnant. And then they'd have to rush a shot, or Claudel Harris would kind of try to shoot in traffic, or Keyshawn would try to lay something up. And honestly, offensively, I think there's a lot of concern, to figure out kind of where things are going to go. For going forward, defensively, like it's been an issue, but offensively, I mean, State made 6 3-pointers in this game. They were 6 of 30, so 20%. Alabama was 22 for 45 for 49% from three. Teams just do so well at three, but for me, I looked at this and thought, man, this is just so nuts that they've made a couple of threes. And it's like State cannot get back in this game because offensively they're just not built at all to take on a team like this, and it makes it really really worrisome when it comes to the tournament, Austin, because there just so many other teams can be so much more proficient from three. State's matchups are really everything, but when you have a good team, you can kind of overpower some of it just because of pure talent. Mississippi State has to have a good matchup in the NCAA tournament if they want to win a game or even be competitive.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've had a couple anomalies. That the A&M game was a huge win for us, but I mean, we haven't had really many big games like that we really needed to win. The Kentucky game we lost. That first Alabama game, was close, but we lost. And then the Auburn game we got pretty much embarrassed. It was rough for a lot of these big like time games. Florida, we weren't. I mean, Florida was Florida. I mean, Missouri, we got, embarrassed by Missouri. No one really saw that coming. And so it's just like, when are we going to be due for another big game? The A&M game, like I said, was a game where we were pretty much leading the whole game. And, I wasn't too worried about that game going into like 5 minutes, down the second half. It wasn't that kind of game. And so, we just have, I think, 3 more games on the regular season. All of them, I think, as of now, are unranked. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, SEC play, anything could happen. But if we get put against Alabama or Kentucky or Auburn or Florida, I'm not picking Mississippi State whatsoever. And that sucks because there's so many good teams in the SEC that we could get paired with any team in the SEC, and I'd be like, I don't know. So it's rough.
Well, State, had the projected when they were a 5 seed after the A&M win, they were projected to go up against Yale, and even a team like Yale shoots I think they have 4 players that shoot over 40% from three. I mean, Yale, if that was 5-12, you'd put all your money on Yale. I mean, Yale, I have no doubt in my mind that Yale would win that game because State just cannot answer the bell. Last night in the post game, RJ Melendez just had a rough game, 1 for 6 from three. He had 11 points. But he was just really, you could see it all over his face. You could see him answering questions. He was really disappointed in the loss and just looked it looked frustrated. Like what are we supposed to do from here? And he said that Coach Jans had really been been on them about defending the three. And yet they go into this game and you lose by 38 points. Now here's the thing. We'll close it out here before we go on to preview LSU because this game's over with. But Alabama is a projected number one seed. You do have to look at it. I mean, this is an upper echelon type of team, just like Auburn was. They're a great team. Mississippi State at their best is a good team. So there are differences in between the two. But it's kind of odd. Where do you find the balance between overreacting? Where do you find the balance between am I overreacting because this Alabama team really is really good, and I'm worried because State looked so bad?
The way the season has gone, there's been so many flip flops where 2 weeks we play terrible, the next week we play good. This game, like you said, it wasn't Coleman Coliseum, and they are one of the best, if not, then they're a top 3 team. You said they could be a 1 seed. They're looking like they're going to be a 1 seed. So, we do have to take that for granted, but it's just the way we lost. I think you said I think it was 38 points. That just can't happen. I don't care who we're playing. If we want to make the tournament and be a really good SEC team, 38 points like this was a bad loss. Even if they are the best team, if we want to be a legit team, if we really think of ourselves as a legit team, 38 points that's inexcusable. I don't care where we're playing. I don't care who we're playing. We can't be losing like that and expect to make the tournament.
Well, I don't know, man. State's a lock for the tournament. But at this point, I think you're trying. We're about to talk about this right here after the break. I think you have to try everything you can to not be in the 8-9 game, because I feel like if you're in the 8-9 game, it is almost a guarantee you're not going to go to the next round because of how this team is. I think the only shot they have for winning a game in March, and let's just be honest, right now that's kind of the goal. You want to win an NCAA tournament game, right? After 2 years of going to it.
Yeah, and I definitely think we're going to make the tournament, no doubt. I just think that, just if we keep playing like this, we can't, like, if we want to, like, solidify ourselves as, like, Christians every year we're going to the tournament, we can't be losing by 38 points. I definitely think that I said it last week, I think we were going to be an 8 seed. I just think that, however we were going to find a way to be an 8 seed, we're going to be an 8 seed. And I still think that's the case after this game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be very nervous the day we play the 8-9 game. If that is what happens, I'm going to be very nervous. I'm gonna pick the Bulldogs just because I don't want to root against them, but also want to be right. So I don't know. We'll just see. But it's going to be a very scary March Madness tournament for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll talk about kind of this last 3-game stretch, but I got to be honest with you. I think Mississippi State's on a collision course to be a 9 seed. As bad as that sounds, we'll kind of make some sense of it here going forward. But we are going to take a quick break, and we will come back and give you the LSU preview, and then also just kind of the remaining 3 games for Mississippi State, what that is going to look like. And hey, Mississippi State will face a familiar young man this Saturday at LSU, former guard Cam Carter, former Mississippi State guard. So we'll take a quick break to hear some ads from MPW Digital, and then we will be right back.
MPW Digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital. We're brought to you by Easy Hemp Company. Easy is a hemp-infused sparkling water. It's a guilt-free alcohol alternative, a natural way to relax and unwind. It's all natural. Made with real fruit, no added sugar, low calories, gluten-free. One 12-ounce can of Easy has 3 milligrams of THC. With Easy, it's easy to avoid the gummy scare and control your experience. So change the can, not the ritual. It's easy. Visit easyhempco.com to view the Easy Finder to find Easy near you. Easy is Farm Bill compliant with hemp derived from THC, CBD extracts. Easy is for people 21 and older. Enjoy responsibly.
This weekend, Austin, 2:30 tip-off in Starkville, one of the last two remaining home games of the season. LSU coming off two games that they honestly fought very hard against two top 5 opponents, just what Mississippi State needed. They played Tennessee and lost 65-59 last night. Very close game versus a very good opponent. And then played Florida on Saturday, lost 79-65, and then they had won 2 games in a row, including on the road at Oklahoma, which Mississippi State was not able to do. LSU is kind of led by Cam Carter, again, the former guard for Mississippi State. He transferred from State to Kansas State, and then but he's having the best season of his career. He's averaging almost 17 a game, averaging 39% from 3. So obviously a guy who can really contribute and kind of make you nervous. And then they have a couple other guards that are really talented. Victorious Miller is a true freshman. Really, really talented guy. Averages about 10 a game, but has also been shooting the ball really well. As of late, had 17 in the game versus Tennessee, had 12 versus South Carolina. So as a team, though, that they don't have a ton of people that shoot in the high 30s from 3-point range, which is great news for Mississippi State. But you know how it is, Austin. It doesn't matter. Like if someone has a lower 30s for their career, but they face Mississippi State, they're going to get more open looks, right? So you have to take that into account. LSU is probably the worst team in the SEC, but that's not saying a ton because the SEC is they're loaded. So where do you go from? Sorry, I just noticed my Dak over here in the background. Where do you go for this Saturday, Austin, for Mississippi State and LSU? As I mentioned, I think it's a must-win in terms of your momentum, but you are still a lock for the tournament. What are your thoughts about this one?
It's hard to put recency bias aside after that terrible game. But, I think we're going to come out there. It's in Starkville, one of the last 2 games in Starkville. And I think we're going to come out there and we're going to, make a statement that, not that we're legit, because an LSU win doesn't say we're legit. But I think it's a game where we have to show that we're not, like you said, on a collision course, downward. We got to make a statement that, we're legit and we still want to have a good seeding in the tournament. So I do think we're going to win this game. I feel really good about this game. I say we win probably by, I'm going to say 15 plus. I feel really good about it. I just think that we're going to get it all clicking. And just to be honest, I don't think this LSU team is very good. We talk about, the SEC, but I mean, this is a must-win game. I mean, if we lose this game, it's an embarrassment. And this would be terrible for seeding. It would be terrible for everything if we lost this game. I don't think Chris Jans and Cam Matthews, I don't think they're going to let that happen. Josh Hubbard has been really consistent scoring the ball. Keyshawn Murphy has been really consistent scoring the ball. We need some more people. We need RJ Melendez to get 10 or 15. Riley Kugel to get 10 or 15. I'm really tired. I talked about this last week. I'm really tired of just, it happened again this time. But just Josh Hubbard and Keyshawn Murphy are the only people that want to score the ball and are the only people that want to consistently score the ball, and that can't happen. This LSU game, we need to get everybody clicking. I feel like Riley Kugel, this could be a really big game for him where he could get everything clicking, and we need a prolific third option scoring the ball because Keyshawn Murphy's off the bench. Josh Hubbard is really the only guard that is very consistent. And against this LSU team, we need more. I would love to see maybe 4 or 5 guys in double figures. That would make me really, really happy. And I have a good feeling we're going to beat the Tigers.
Well, yeah, they should. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You just want to build some confidence for these guys going forward. So yeah, you want RJ to get 10. You want Kugel to get you 12 or so, and like win the game first and foremost. But you want those guys to have momentum because 3 days later, State hosts Texas. So I'm with you. I think even though LSU has been playing better, I think State is going to be able to have this unless the Alabama loss. I mean, it's possible that it is kind of deteriorates and they allow themselves to get beaten twice, from the Alabama loss. But after that, Austin, it's Mississippi State hosting Texas on Tuesday, and obviously we'll have a preview for that. So I don't want to go all into that right now. But I got to be honest with you, man. I think State is on a collision course at the moment to go 1-2 over these next three. I don't feel good about Texas. Texas is in the net. They're 30. They just moved up to 39, so they're only 10 spots behind Mississippi State. And they're a talented team. Remember, they visited the same team that beat Kentucky, and they can shoot. That's the biggest problem. They can shoot really well. And then Arkansas is looking better and better, and they're fighting for an opportunity to get into the tournament. State's got a lot to show. Here's the way. Tell me what you think about this. I think that if State ends up going 1-2, I think they could be, they might win a game in the SEC tournament, might just get bounced after one and then get bounced after another in the NCAA tournament and just kind of end it like that. I think if State ends up going, say, 2-1 or 3-0, I think State has some momentum going forward. Just momentum is such a big part about who gets hot and who is not at this point in the season.
Yeah, I think 2-1 would be amazing. If we could somehow, like you said, that Texas game is looking like a real trap game. On paper, it looks like we're going to win, but if you do the deep dive on it, that's a game that could be very, very tricky. The Arkansas game that's the really game I'm nervous about. I would love just to put it, because I know Cal wants to get in the tournament so bad, and I know at Kentucky he absolutely dominated us for a number of years, so he can beat us. But I would just love to take out their chances to make the tournament. That would be amazing in his first year at Arkansas. But yeah, if we go 2-1, I'm feeling great. I really hope we win this LSU game. If we win this LSU game, and if we lose this LSU game next week, I'll probably come out with a little bit different perspective. But yeah, win this game against LSU, and if we lose one, win one, or win one, lose one, I will take it. I think that either way, we just survive. SEC tournament, I think again, it's going to be all about seeding. I feel like, first round, we're going to be seeded against a really good team. And, last year I was really happy with how we did in the SEC tournament. SEC is a little bit better this year, so I don't know how we're going to do. But again, we're a little bit better this year, so who knows? So it's just, I'd have to look at the standings first again for the SEC tournament. I'm not sure, but that 8 or 9 seed game in the NCAA tournament, I don't look forward to that.
Yeah, I was, and I'll finish with this, but I was texting you about this yesterday. But it's just so funny. State finds himself in the 8 seed. One of the teams that's projected as a 9 seed right now is back-to-back defending national champions UConn. And I just think that would be so on brand for Mississippi State to lose enough games to get put in the 8 seed and have to go up against a UConn team as the 9 and just get slapped around. So that seeding is it's important. And if State wants to win a game, which feels like the goal of this team is win at least one, and that kind of has you feeling good to kind of close out Chris James' third year in Starkville. It seems like if he loses another one and done, do you feel like, or does he feel like, not really State, because State's, going to the tournament 3 years in a row is great, but does he get to a point where he's like, you know what, maybe this is all I can do here. Maybe that's kind of my ceiling. So these next couple of weeks are huge for Mississippi State's men's basketball program. And it'll be very interesting to see how things go. But yeah, 2:30 on Saturday, Mississippi State and LSU will face off. So Austin and I both have the Bulldogs winning that game, but there's a chance that State is just so demoralized from Alabama that they keep it going. But I don't think so. I think LSU is not a great opponent. I think it's a much better matchup for Mississippi State than it was on Saturday night. So that is where we will finish here. We will have a recap of the LSU game that will come to you on Sunday, along with a preview of the Texas game Tuesday night in Starkville at 7 p.m. Final home game of the season for Mississippi State after Saturday. So as always, make sure you follow us on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod. Subscribe to us on Substack. And make sure you are subscribed to MPW Digital on all platforms. Over 11,000 subs on YouTube and even more people listening on streams. Do that. And also drink some Marpas. we can get that. There we go. Drink some Marpas as well, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.